everyone. I'd like to call to order the November 19th public hearing for the City of Tampa's Barrio Latino Commission. Welcome, everyone. I'm Rich Simmons, Chair of the Commission. If you're here to present a project, you will have limited time to make your presentation, so we just suggest being thorough but concise. When coming to the microphone, you will need to identify yourself and your relationship to the project. The commissioners will not ask any questions during your presentation. Your project should be presented in the following order: site plan, elevations, architectural details, wall sections. Staff presents staff report. We will then ask for public comment. Please state and spell your name clearly if you're here to speak for or against the project. Your time will be limited to 3 minutes, so take some time now to summarize your comments. Following public comment, the commissioners will be asking questions in the same order as the presentation. Next, the applicant will have 5 minutes for rebuttal. The public hearing will then be closed. After the public hearing is closed, no further testimony can be given. The commissioners will then discuss the case and make their decisions based upon Chapter 27 of the City Code of Ordinances, the design guidelines, the Secretary of Interior standards, Historic Preservation Development Review Committee comments, and the testimony given today at this public hearing. The BLC can only act on items that are within our specific jurisdictional responsibility. Owner agents are independently responsible to obtain any appropriate permits and/or approvals. If you haven't already done so, please silence your cell phones. We'll start with the introductions of our commissioners, starting on my left. Roberto Torres. Don't be shy.
Vivian Salaga.
Richard Cahill.
Good morning, Chase Corley.
Okay, and from city staff today, we have Ron Vila, Alexis Guzman, Heather Bonds, and our birthday girl herself from the city attorney's office, Dana Crosby Collier. So we wish you all a happy birthday today. Thank you. Okay, we have our minutes from the October 22nd public hearing in our packet. Has everyone had a chance to review? Is there comment, discussion, or a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor of said motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Vila.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ron Vila, I'm a planner for Historic Preservation. In your packets, we have the staff approvals for you to review, and we will receive and file at the end of the public hearing. We also have our publication that we do monthly, the bricks and mortar. We are focusing on the Sexton House. It just went through a renovation, and if you get the opportunity to go by, the building really shines in that area. It's in Oak Lawn Cemetery. I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. We won't rejoin this meeting until after Thanksgiving. And at this time, we will move into our preservation in progress. We have Heather Bonds that is going to share some information with you.
Good morning, Heather Bonds, Historic Preservation Specialist. I'll be sharing some information about our Interstate Historic Preservation Trust Fund. This program offers grants and loans to eligible property owners throughout the city. We're currently finishing up a cycle for the grant program. We received 7 grant applications and 5 are moving forward. So I was gonna give you guys a brief update about this program. Program began in 2005. It originated through the Section 106 process. This was in result because of the interstate expansion. We had to move 69 houses that were in the way of I-4. We moved them into vacant lots throughout Ybor City. And they were rehabilitated and sold back into the community, and those excess funds from the sales help fund this program. Its mission is to accelerate the exterior historic preservation of properties in the National Register districts that abut I-4, which is Ybor City, Tampa Heights, and West Tampa. The program has awarded over $700,000 in grants for rehabilitation to houses within those National Register districts. And again, those 3 districts are Tampa Heights, Ybor City, and West Tampa. And those are the national historic districts, which include some of the boundaries of our local districts as well. To be eligible, a property also has to be at least 75 years old. The proposals must receive a CA and adhere to the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation. The funds cannot be used to acquire properties, and the work cannot have already been initiated or completed. For the grant program, applicants can apply for a grant between $5,000 and $25,000. The property must be homesteaded and it must be their legal residence. They must also not exceed 140% of the median household limits. Eligible activities include structural stabilization, exterior restoration, rehabilitation, or reconstruction of architectural details. We aim for this to be used as a facade program. We give more weight to those that are focusing on the front facade of their programs. But we do include things like re-roofs that help keep the structure maintained. As I mentioned, we have 5 currently being evaluated for the grant program. That evaluation criteria includes the appropriateness of the project as it relates to the Secretary of Interior standards, the projects that alleviate or prevent endangerment of the historic property, the thoroughness of the application, the significance of the structure, and the financial need of the applicant to maintain the improvements to the property. For the loan program, eligible requirements include they can apply up to $400,000 per project. The applicants may be commercial property owners. We've kind of moved towards only commercial properties for the loan program. Applicants are referred for financial review and underwriting, and they have to have sought conventional funding. So this is not necessarily a last resort, but they've had to fail other conventional funding to move through our program. Eligible activities include structural stabilization, exterior restoration, rehabilitation, mothballing, electrical, mechanical, and plumbing improvements, soft costs such as creating architectural plans, and minor additions for contemporary adaptations of the building. Some additional criteria for the loan program. It needs to alleviate or prevent endangerment of the historical property. Again, the significance of the structure, the qualifications of professionals involved in the project team, and financial commitments and funding sources. We'll share some successful stories. For the grants, this at 915 East 17th Avenue, they repaired and replaced deteriorated wood siding and windows with appropriate materials. 2606 North 13th Street, they replaced the 5V crimp metal roof, replaced beadboard soffits, and replaced and repaired roof framing. 2706 North Jefferson Street, their grant funding helped replace aluminum windows with wood windows and appropriate wood trim, repair and replace wood siding, and remove metal security bars. For the loan program, this is a commercial structure in the Ybor City Historic District. It received structural stabilization, electrical, mechanical, and plumbing updates, and reconstruction of architectural details. 507 East Park Avenue, their loan helped fund structural stabilization, including the framing and chimney repair, and electrical, mechanical, and plumbing upgrades as well. 2201 North Central Avenue, structural stabilization of the building, rehabilitation and repair of the entire structure, and most notably the roof structure, exterior rehabilitation of the siding, windows, porch overhangs, and the architectural details. You can see the gingerbread detailing added back to the house. Really, this one's a striking difference in how the loan program helped. These 3 structures were all moved and rehabilitated. And you can see them all here in a row. They relocated these three houses from Amelia Avenue, and they all had a full rehabilitation of the exterior and interior of the structures. So, again, we're finishing up our current cycle, and we'll let you know about our recipients once they're all awarded. All right.
Good afternoon, good morning. Dana Crosby Collier from the City Attorney's Office with the Conflict of Interest moment. I'd like to ask if any commissioner has a conflict of interest with any item on the agenda this morning.
I have none.
Okay, thank you. And has any member engaged in any ex parte communication with regard to any matter on this agenda today?
I have not.
Okay, thank you so much.
So Commissioners, moving down our agenda, under continuations, we have none reflected on this morning's agenda. Moving to the swear-in, Ms. Guzman will swear everybody in that wishes to testify. Please stand up and raise your right hand, including staff.
We have some public comment in the back that's going to be speaking today. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you'll be providing today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, maybe seated.
Moving to our first agenda item, which is BLC-24-000042. This is for the address of 1506 North 15th Street. There is a contributing structure there that dates back to 1918. The zoning attached to that parcel is YC6. Within the YC6 zoning classification, there are no setbacks. But as you do development and construction, you have to meet fire and building. So there is a separation there that we'll get into it if needed as we go through the process. The request is for a certificate of appropriateness for new construction. They're doing an addition to the primary structure with site improvements. Moving to the photo presentation. Property in question is highlighted in the green. It does face 15th Street that runs north and south. It is between 5th Avenue and 6th Avenue. Behind the subject site, there is no alley, so they have some challenges with parking that'll come up through the presentation. You see the vernacular and the fabric within the 1929 Sanborn here. As you continue, you see some single-family row houses here and some smaller houses in the immediate vicinity. As you look with the current overhead, you see how the environment has changed. You see some larger footprint buildings here. You see some attached dwelling units here and here. Property in question here, once again on 15th Street, between 5th Avenue and 6th Avenue. This is just to get you a sense of place within our local district, which is highlighted within the green, in the red highlighted area. The green is the subject site toward the southern boundary. Moving to the photos. This is the front elevation. Moving to the front and the side. These pictures were taken a while back, and I wanted to show these to show the challenge that they have. This is the north property line with the abutting house to show some of the challenge. This house that the agent will go through had a fire damage in the back. They were a little bit aggressive moving forward. They started to build, the addition to the primary structure without any approval from this board and without permits, so we're here to correct that and get it back on track. So you have a shotgun house to the north of the subject site. Moving to the front and the south elevation. Once again, this is 15th Street. And looking at the new construction that was reviewed and approved by this board to the south of the subject site. Moving around to the rear, it was very difficult to go on site, take some pictures, so I took it from a distance to show what was built, which will be removed as the project comes forward and be in line with, hopefully with what the board reviews this morning and with building and fire code as it progresses. The next are just a series of photos down the street showing some parallel parking. This is 15th Street to the north as you go back into Ybor City into 7th Avenue. And this is looking down 15th Street as well. That concludes the photo presentation. This time I'll have the agent address the board.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, the first page, we're gonna show the survey of the property. My name is Jorge Hernandez. I'm representing the engineering companies, and we am here to get the approval for the extension that we do it on the property. Okay? This is the survey that is marking in here on the property line like was a sincero, okay? And then we are making the new site plan that we already corrected, like Ron say, for the fire department, we had to move 3 feet minimum inside from the property line, okay? So it's on this side that we move it, okay? We are building the deck in the back, and we go with the elevations, if you have any question for that. No?
This is your presentation.
Oh, all right. So then we got the east elevation, which is no making any changes on the existing one, and the proposal, you can see that's not.
Look up there, look what you're looking at. So go to the east elevation again,
Okay,
please.
all right. Okay, so the east elevations doesn't make no changes, okay? We're going to the west elevation, that you see it as in a pop on the existing one that we remove on the new, because we have to comply with the 3 feet of the property line, okay? Now, on the, all right, on the south elevation, that we can see it, that we have on the existing one is a flat roof on the back. There was it's gonna be removed because of fire damage, and then we build it as a gable. And we continue with the same type of roof and the same type of material, which is metal. Okay, all the windows complying by the BLC, okay? And north side, you can see it, there is a, okay, the north side, the existing one, and you can see the flat, and then we change it and continue with the same type of roof of the property. Okay, this is the existing colors that we're going to continue to maintain the same colors of the property and the same color for the trim. The trim is going to be the same. And all the material that we're using for the siding is going to be the same siding. So we don't change anything on the facade. Now regarding to the parking, this is the site plan for the parking that we agreed to have 2 parking spaces that are already submitted, okay? Okay, this is the existing floor plan, and that's a new floor plan. This section in here, that was unaffected by the fire. That's why the wall had to be removed and completed replacement. So that way, that's why we have to comply with the 3 feet from the property line. That's it. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ron Vila, I'm a planner with Historic Preservation. Staff's finding that the application is consistent with the Ybor City Design Guidelines. In your packet, you also have a letter that was submitted to our office that has some information as well, and the owner of that crafted that letter is here if you have any questions. Moving down the conditions that are reflected on page 3 and 4, I know the agent has a wall section that should be shared with you guys today, go from the top, the ridge, all the way through the foundation. There were some details on the house. The house is a very simple house, so the addition should complement the vernacular of the house. It had a gable vent on it that is reflected in the staff report. I think additional information is needed on that. The initial request that we saw, the introduction of windows were needed on the north elevation to provide additional windows. On the back, we were working through different scenarios. At one time, they had some sliding doors and they had a French door. This morning, he just showed one man door off the back and then a deck leading from the rear door to grade. So if you want to discuss that as well. With construction, with additions to historic homes, wherever that addition comes into and is surgically remove some of the historic fabric, there should be a delineation from the old house to the new. There's a vertical trim piece that was integrated into the project that shows on the plans. And also there's a break in the roof line. So the gable, the main gable is there, and then the new gable is subordinate to the ridge and the gable that's there, which is appropriate to the Secretary of Interior standards as well. We asked for him to locate the mechanical, which is shown off the rear elevation, is shown on the site plan as well. If additional information is needed with a fire that happened and why we're here today, as I stated, the fire was there. They were a little aggressive. They chose to do the work. We're correcting that now and moving forward. As this project moves forward, we got other departments involved with this. We had transportation look at this, we had zoning look at this, and we had fire and building look at this. So the separation from the new on the north elevation is consistent with the building code as presented. The parking, all projects within Ybor City has to provide one car on site. If you look at the pictures that I showed and you look at the Sanborn map, they have no ability to park on site. So they could either came forward and asked for a variance for the parking reduction from 1 to 0, or satisfy code by parking within 1,000 feet, and you have to have an agreement, and I believe he has that information that should be discussed in this meeting. And it has to go through a process. Right now, it's in zoning, then zoning will send it to legal will look at it, and if everything is okay, then they satisfy the Chapter 27 of City of Tampa Code. So that kind of summarizes the presentation this morning. I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Vila. Anyone here wishing to comment on this case from the public, please identify yourself.
Sorry, say again?
We have public comment. Please
okay.
leave the podium. So you
Hi, David Bailey. My wife and I own the property south of this location. And we are happy to see this house be rehabilitated since the fire. It's been in pretty rough shape, and it's survived some hurricanes, luckily. The only concern that we have is that, as the applicant stated, they've set back on the north side of the house to the north property line, but they're still within the 3 feet of the south property line. So because this structure has caught fire before, we're concerned about that setback. So as Mr. Vila said, for zoning purposes, you don't have to set back from that property line, but for Florida building code purposes, you do have to have that 3 feet separation from the property line. So that's our only concern. So I just wanted to put that on the record.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Anyone else from the public wishing to comment? Okay, seeing none, we can start with some questions of the applicant, starting with Mr. Torres.
Can we summarize what are we here for today? Because I think there's like a few moving pieces.
That we're asking questions of the applicant
Oh,
right
yeah,
now,
okay.
so I think anything that you could ask to help clarify the intent of the project and what they're seeking
Yeah.
approval today would be helpful.
Okay.
We can come back to you if you want.
Yeah.
I have no questions at this point, but I may come back.
No questions.
Can you put the survey up, please?
Sure.
Can you zoom in, please?
I'll get it. I got it.
Thank you, Ron. Do you have a pen on you or a pencil? Can you draw the actual footprint of the existing historic.
The existing one?
Historic. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Ron.
Does that projection that goes to the property line, zero lot line, is that 4.2, is that original or is that?
That's original, yes.
That is original, the 4.2
That's
that
correct,
goes to the
yes.
zero lot line.
That's correct.
And then the line that's 24 feet, .1 feet, that line going to the property line is the original facade as well?
That
To the
line,
south.
No,
The
this is
south.
this is the front. The front have the 3.9 right now. But they have a pop on the side for 4.2 that we removed already.
Is you've already
Yeah,
removed
we're
that?
No, we're gonna remove it. They're gonna remove it as soon as they start, because that's why I have the new site.
Okay,
plan.
let me ask the question, and you answer yes or no. You have removed the 4.2 foot that goes to the property line. You have removed it already?
Not yet.
Not yet. And the 24.1 feet length that goes to the property line, did you remove that portion of the property already?
No.
Okay. Is that historic? Is that the original 1915, 18
Yeah, it is.
portion?
It is.
And the 4.2 foot piece, is that part of the original 1918 structure?
That's correct.
And that line that you drew is the original rear of the historic structure, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I have a question for staff. I understand fire codes, I understand building codes, but when it comes to existing buildings, especially in preservation, there are exceptions. Was that reviewed with the applicant and then building officials within the city?
So staff's under the impression that this is part of the historic home. There's been some additions in the back. So this setback line here is gonna continue as his plans show. We're not moving this closer to the north property.
No, that's not where I'm going.
Okay.
I'm asking about the 4.2. If that is an original piece of the primary structure, 1918 structure,
Yes.
and that 24.1 foot at the south, which goes to the zero lot line, if that's an original portion of the structure as well,
This was part of the original structure that
Yep.
through the fire was removed. This is no longer there. They cannot get credit for any,
okay, that's an important piece of the puzzle here. So the 4.2 extension that goes to the property line at the north,
here.
yes.
Was-
That little rectangle at the northwest corner of the original square, that is not original. That was built after the fire?
Absolutely. And this, as shown in my pictures, has been built after the fire.
Okay,
That's
then go
correct.
to the south elevation.
Yes,
How much of that is original?
this is all original.
Okay.
As the applicant, or excuse me, the property owner to the south came forward, this is an existing condition. We want to leave that. That's vested in.
Yeah,
But
okay.
anything new has to meet fire code.
Then let me see the proposed
No,
new
even the-
plan,
Even the
please.
2.2, even the 2.2 was as an existing. Onto the
Understood.
2.2.
Understood. I want to see your proposed plan, please. So I get the north elevation, I understand.
This is the proposed plan.
Does this have the property line on it? I thought there was a
Let's see
plan
this.
that had the property line.
Site plan.
Site
The site
plan?
plan.
Site plan, sorry. Oh, so you do keep it? All right. I was afraid it was gone. But thank you. That was really important because there was a staff comment about a demolition plan. And do you have a demolition plan with you today?
Yes.
Okay, I have no other questions at this time. I might come back to.
Yeah, no questions at this time. Thank you.
So, on the south property line, go back to the new site plan. So that 0.1 foot is right on the property line on the south side. And that masonry chimney is over the property line?
Yeah.
And
No,
that-
the chimney is not on the property, no. It's part of the no property line.
What is,
It says
what-
barely in the property line, the ending in the property line.
so the chimney is wholly on your property?
It's on the property line, yes.
Okay. Are you seeking to maintain the chimney?
Yes.
I didn't see that chimney on any of your elevations.
Yes, we don't have that on the, we don't drawing that on the elevations, yeah, that's a, wait 1 second, yeah. So it should be in the south elevation, we don't have it. We don't draw it down in the south
Okay, it's,
elevation.
masonry, it's a brick chimney?
It's a brick chimney, yeah.
Brick chimney, so you're seeking to maintain that?
Yeah, we're gonna
It's-
keep it like
you're
that, we're
telling-
not gonna touch it.
Pardon?
We're not gonna touch the chimney,
Okay, but it's entirely on your property line?
yes.
Okay. Are there any special considerations, since you're leaving that corner where it says the 0.1 foot, that's close to the property line? I'm not sure exactly how, if it's on it or very close. What additional considerations are you gonna make, on that existing to remain section of the historic home to protect that wall or reinforce that wall to meet building code?
Well, we don't need to touch those walls in very good conditions, okay? So there is no damage by the fire is only damage on the back area, so we don't gonna touch that section. We're only gonna, paint, maintain, seal the walls, and that's it.
Okay,
And
so
replace the windows.
so your existing wall structure and your existing windows, existing siding is all existing to
And it's-
remain, not touching anything?
That's correct.
Okay, so the window is existing to remain. Can you go through, let's, pull up our, elevations. We can start out whichever one you want. I'd like you to go through materials. You kind of rushed through all that. I want to make sure we understand what you're proposing to do, both on the existing to remain and new structure.
This is the,
Yeah, could you walk us through the
okay,
materials?
the east elevation is gonna be no changes, okay? And the rear.
So what's that front roof? That's a metal roof up over the porch on the front?
Yes, it's a metal roof, it's an
Okay.
existing, it's gonna maintain, okay?
And the columns are
And the
existing to
columns
remain,
is
you're not
maintained
touching
too.
them?
Yeah. Everything that's on the east elevation is gonna maintain the same way. Same color, same trims, we don't touch it. Okay? On the west elevations, then we change from the flat roof, we're gonna continue with the gable, and we're gonna, using a French door, we're gonna remove the sliding door because it's not approved. And also, the mechanical, the AC condenser is right next to the deck, and it's a small deck on the back to the property. And then the windows is compliant with the BLG. That's all we changed.
Okay, what's the materials of the windows?
Say again? You have the cut sheet. Oh, yeah, the sheet for the window. This is gel windows. And I'm gonna have the,
So they're wood,
they're all wood, yes.
all wood. There we go. Okay. All right, let's talk about our roof, okay?
The roof is gonna be a metal roof, and it's gonna continue with the 16 roof from the old property. So we maintain the same roof.
Okay.
Metal
And so the roof is a metal roof. What kind
It's
of
a metal
roof?
corrugated
Like
roof
a
right
5B
now.
crimp to match existing?
That's matched the existing.
Galvalume, natural finish?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, let's go back to your elevations. All right, what is your siding there? Let's run
The
through
siding
that.
is a wood siding. It's a 6 inches of wood siding, and
Okay.
we're gonna match it with the existing one.
So it's gonna match the same profile.
Yes, it's in the
Okay.
notes. Yeah.
All right, and on your soffit overhangs, how are you gonna treat those? What's the treatment on the existing house? Is it exposed rafter tails?
It's a rafter tail, 12 inches on the overhand, and then we're gonna continue with the same site.
So they're gonna be exposed
Ex-
on the addition as well?
Exposed the additional wall.
And you're gonna have a gutter?
And we have a gutter, yes, have to be around the gutter, and the gutter is already drawn on the plans.
Okay, do you have a wall section to look at this? Because you're not putting a soffit panel or anything there, it's all gonna be exposed? Looks like you have a soffit panel in there.
Yeah, this is you can see in here,
He does have a
Yeah.
panel.
this is the wall section in here. And all the notes is marked, that's what we're gonna maintain, and using the same type of material for the existing property.
Okay, so let's stay on the overhangs there and the fascia. Are you using soffit panels and wood fascia boards, or are those exposed rafters?
Those rafters, it's exposed.
Well, you're showing us that you've got fascia panels and
This
soffit
is the,
panels.
yeah, because of the front of the property, what happened with this property, the front of the property haven't exposed a piece of the overhand, okay, on the soffit. In the back of the property, when the property turned, they have the vent on it with the wood trim, the old system. So we're gonna continue with the same, so that way we don't have nothing come into the roof, because there's no block. And we need to ventilate it by building code.
Okay, so you are gonna have soffit panels.
That's correct, on the wood.
All right. Okay, let's go to our, we're on this one, so let's talk about the railing. Is that all wood
Everything is wood, yes,
and a wood deck, and that's raised up and off the ground?
yes.
Okay, when we're talking about our wall section here, is this how you're gonna do this? You're gonna have a 4 feet of block coming up, and then you're gonna go to stud construction after that?
Yeah, we're gonna go pillars, yeah, the same pillars, and we're gonna continue with the same height of the existing property.
Okay, so you're gonna have exposed pillars or,
That's correct.
okay, that go down into the addition. What's the finish on those pillars?
It's block, concrete
Block.
blocks.
Are you painting them? Are you gonna put stucco on them?
Well, we can paint it, we can, stucco, I don't know, the old ones is not stucco, so we're gonna match in the existing ones.
Well,
So continue with historical,
okay, and what's gonna go in between the pillars?
nothing between the pillars.
It's gonna be open to the outside?
It's open, well, we're gonna put the screen like we saw on the elevations. You see on the elevations that we have a screen on the back.
I can't really see. So that's
You
why
see
we have a
style
lot of
traditional
questions here.
later, like it. You see it on the elevation right here?
Can you zoom in a little bit? It's a little hard to read the words. Thank you.
Oh,
Okay. Okay, yeah, could you zoom out a little bit here?
What?
And,
a little bit.
can you zoom out a little bit so we can talk about these elevations? Out,
Out, other way.
there you go. Okay. A little bit more, don't be shy. Okay. All right, so if we're starting here on our corrected south elevation, your existing porch, your existing 5 feet crimp roof, the existing soffit panels, that corner next to that third window from the right, that's the one that's right on the property line, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Then it goes back in, then you have another window. Is that window existing or new?
Existing.
Okay. That's gonna be extremely difficult to trim properly. And what's the 3 lines right to the left of that window? Does that jog again, or is that straight?
Well, that's what they changed of the property when they extended the property. When they extended the property, there's a line and there's a trim.
Okay. Are we following it?
Can you draw the chimney on this elevation? Because I don't think that's right.
Yeah, I'm just trying to,
Something's off.
the chimney's definitely missing. Yeah.
Something's off.
And I think that's the historic corner, but then it goes back here, and I don't know if there's another historic jog there or not. Yeah. Can you show us the proposed floor plan or the proposed site plan?
Is there a fence on that side?
Yeah.
Hold the question.
Such a minimal.
I think he's changed the depth of where this wall is relative to.
While he's
It's
providing you
closer.
information, I
Yeah.
see that you're asking for both sides of the structure. This is the north side,
Right.
which this will be removed. That was the addition done without review or approval through the building department. But somebody asked about fencing, and then below,
Can you pull it up a little bit? Thank you.
The bottom.
There you go. Yeah, the bottom one. Thank you.
and then below you have, this is the south elevation. This is where the chimney is. This
But
is
the
front of
building kind of
house.
extends
You have-
beyond that a little bit more.
Excuse me?
But the building, the original 1918 building extends
Goes beyond that.
beyond it a
the-
little bit.
Beyond the chimney.
Yeah, it does.
And I think that there's a window there, then it turns, and I think it goes, I don't know if there's just one more straight notch, or there's another notch in there. I'm just trying to understand.
Let me,
The floor
Let's
plan,
show it.
how about
this
the,
is the existing right here, the chimney, right there.
Right. Well,
There's a window on the other side of the chimney.
yeah, let's go back to our plan, proposed plan. So there is no notch.
no, but he was saying that that was historic,
Yes.
and it's not, because look at the difference in the dimension here to there.
Yeah, they don't really align. Right.
Where's the chimney? Can you just draw the chimney, please?
It's kind of like,
I know where.
Where is the, I have a couple.
Sorry, that was really loud.
so existing chimney to remain, then it goes back and goes back straight. In this corner, by bedroom number 2, is the existing historic corner that's remaining. And then the building jogs back, so on the existing plan, bedroom number 3 should have a window there, but it doesn't. Or is a new window in bedroom 2 on the proposed plan new?
On the master bedroom,
Nope. All right, let's go on the plan on the left, bedroom number 3. There's no window in there, right?
That's correct.
But then you go to bedroom 2, which is the same location of where that jog is? Or is that a new wall? Is that a new wall?
The bedroom number 3, this was damaged by the fire, so it had to be a new wall.
Okay.
That's part
All
of the
right,
issue.
oh, okay. So this jogs back, I don't know, let's say 6 feet or whatever, but then they're building out this wall over here, which is only 2 foot back, 2 foot 10?
Three-
And 13/16 back from that historic existing corner. So that bedroom 2 is good, that is gonna be a new window.
That's correct. That's gonna be a new window, yes.
Okay, well, that's, now what you just told us a few moments ago
No,
about that.
the existing, all the windows on the property had to be changed, all the windows. We already ordered new windows and it's approved by the BLC. We already submitted for approval and it's approved.
Are you saying that you're
Right,
replacing all the existing
All the existing
windows?
windows.
That's not what you said earlier when you were asked a question.
No, we're gonna use the same type of windows, it's a wood windows and it's approved.
It's approved by
By
whom?
whom?
Yeah, we
approved
send
it?
it to the
That's what
bar,
you're here for today, so.
It
we
has
send them
not been
previous to the
approved
Barrio
yet.
Latino. You get the email.
You may have a window that's been approved by this commission on previous occurrences and could be standard for the district, but this project and your windows haven't been approved. So, we're just trying to get to, understand where the existing and the new is. So, it appears that this is a completely new wall, right, for the master bedroom and bedroom 2 and along the master bath.
Right.
So it's 20 feet wide. But this sets in, so this goes away, but this addition comes here. Yeah, it'd be nice to have it like a little overlay to understand this. All right, so that's a new window on the west, all new windows. Wood windows. So all new wood windows on the front facade that face the east elevation?
All the windows is a wood, east, west,
New.
north, and south,
New windows, they're all gonna be new,
all new,
all, okay. Okay.
part of the scope of work that we have.
Okay, and your rear door is now a hinge door. Okay, I'm gonna pass the baton, I'm exhausted, so who wants to take over?
I have a couple of questions. On the photographs, the windows show a very unique muntin pattern. And that is apparently what you're saying is that unique muntin pattern is now not going to be replicated in the new windows. Is there a reason that you would not refinish those historic windows and keep them in the historic part of the building?
Ron Vila, staff for Historic Preservation. I've been here long enough that we did many renovations to this structure. Those aren't the original windows to this house.
Oh,
So
okay.
I would say 15 years ago that they introduced some windows. This area was very underkept, if you will. It was blighted at a time, and they had aluminum windows. We worked with a prior owner to bring in period-appropriate materials for the windows, but those came in at a later date. So they are not part of the earlier 1900 fabric.
Okay, all right. And the second question is involved with this chimney. It's, of course, we have no dimension on this drawing as to the size of this chimney as it extends out from the face of the house. But you're also not showing any, what does the chimney do? Is there a fireplace inside the house?
It's no fireplace anymore, they canceled maybe many years ago, but by that,
But they left the exterior brick?
that's it, yeah, the criteria. So it's no working chimney.
Okay. That's it.
I had a question. Do you guys have a plan for a fence? The only reason why I asked is because I don't see an existing fence now, and that could be perhaps some sort of barrier for fire or anything like that. I'll defer to Ron too. Maybe there is an opportunity to put a fence that can act as a fire retardant or fire protection.
The property owner has the ability to put a fence on his property line. He'll have to show us when we review fences. We look at the location, we look at the height, we look at the design, and we look at the material. And any board city will also look at the color. So all of that will come through a review process if he chooses to.
Okay.
To touch upon the chimney, that chimney is for a stove. That was not for a wood-burning fireplace. If you look at the dimensions of the chimney, and that's something in the past we don't hold on to. So if the chimney needs to stay behind, that's acceptable. If he wants to remove it, we have allowed the removal of a stove chimney, not a wood-burning fireplace, though. It has different characteristics.
But the applicant has stated it's gonna remain.
That's his call.
I don't think it's like more than two by two, perhaps.
Yeah, 1.2 by 1.2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically
Hard to
18 by
believe
24,
it's not
so.
encroaching over the property line, though.
Survey indicates it's within, so.
That was it for me.
Any other questions on this side?
I just want to confirm a couple of things. Do you have cut sheets for hardware yet?
No.
Intended hardware? How about lighting?
The lighting for the outside?
Yes.
No, we don't decide it. There is a small light on the front that is very old, so we're gonna keep that one.
And there's nothing at the
And in
rear?
the back, we
at the
don't
rear?
decide it yet.
Okay. For the doors, were you intending on replacing the front door as well?
No.
No? Okay. Do you have details for the gable vent? The new gable vent?
It's only in the elevation, the one we have. But it's not really detailing.
You don't have one at the rear? Can you show your
Sure.
rear elevation
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
please? So you do have one at the rear, you don't have a detail for
Right,
that?
on the west, property west elevation, the proposed.
Yes, your west elevation.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a detail for that yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. All right. Can we look at your north facade, please?
North picture.
Yes. Can you pull that up, please, so we can see the north? No, not zoom, just pull the sheet up. That's good, just leave it. Yeah, so what is at the rear of the addition at the deck? There's no window there. What's the reasoning for that?
Which side you say, the back?
The north facade, the new end, closest to your new deck. That whole wall is blank.
That's correct.
Why
Because-
is that?
Because it's gonna be the kitchen.
And kitchens don't deserve windows?
No, they don't have to have it.
They don't what? I'm sorry?
They don't have to have it, but building code, we don't have to have the window on
No,
the
I know
kitchen.
that, but can we see your floor plan really quickly for that area, for the first floor, the proposed? And you can just put that on top of the elevation, lay it on top. Can you rotate it 90 degrees, the plan? That's not the kitchen, that's the dining
Yeah,
area.
this dining area, this is the kitchen right here.
So I
And the
would,
kitchen, even the kitchen have it on the sink, one window.
okay, that's beautiful, but I am wondering if you looked at the opportunity to add a window or two.
Oh, yeah, that is not a problem.
Okay,
We can add it.
okay. And then there was a remark here about using French doors instead of sliders. Are you using sliders at the rear? No, you're using a French door now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it looked like that door was glass? Had a
It's
glass?
a single glass, yeah.
At the rear?
On the rear.
At the deck?
on the rear.
And
the
you have an
front one is
elevation of that? If that was just in the elevation, do you have a spec sheet for that?
For the rear door, not yet.
Not yet, okay. And then the AC, we see it's at the rear. The parking solution, you mentioned that you have an agreement. Have you brought that agreement
Yes.
with you so that it can be entered into the record for staff and legal?
Could we just ask him to be sure to provide
Yes,
that?
we will. Sir, we'll just make sure that that be provided to staff today or in a reasonable amount of time. In the interim, can you point out on a site map where the actual lot is? Because you showed a plan, but I have no idea how close that is to the house. It's supposed to be within 1,000 feet, correct, by code?
For
The lot where you're gonna
the parking
have,
lot, yes, I showed on the, give me 1 second, I'm gonna show it on the site plan for the parking lot.
It's 2 lots to the north.
he needs to be able to
150
answer
feet.
the question, and I asked, where is it in relationship to the existing structure? Where's the existing structure? I have no idea how close this is.
Juan Vila, Historic Preservation, if I
Yes,
could
sir.
assist. This is the vicinity map that I put into the record initially. Property in question that we're talking about is in the green.
Yes,
The lot is right here.
perfect, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
150 feet. Parking lot, man.
He has to come back. I think we'll have to- I have no other questions at this time.
I have a couple more. Could you go back to the side elevations, the north and the south? We have a staff comment on here to incorporate vertical trim board at break between historic and new. Okay, can you zoom out a little bit, please? The whole sheet. Right. Right, the whole sheet. We're gonna look at all the elevations right now, please. Okay. There we go, okay, good, perfect, thank you. All right, so on the south elevations, again, those 3 lines to the left of the third window from the right, that shouldn't be there. Okay, because there's the new addition where that third window from the right starts is a new window and a new wall. So there's no break that needs to occur there. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of that. And I
What
think
about this window?
the 3 lines to the left of that, I think you're to your left. The 3 lines, that vertical trim board. Nope, to the left, to the left, to the left.
In between the 2 windows.
Here.
That doesn't, what does that indicate? That doesn't indicate,
That indicating not only that there is the new section from here onto the back is the new construction.
yeah, I don't think that's accurate.
Okay,
That
so
whole wall from that third window,
it's brand new.
is brand new. Correct, so you don't need that trim
No, I don't
separation.
need that trim if I
Okay,
need
let's
it.
cross that out.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's go down to the bottom elevation on the north. Now you have your existing roof, then you're showing the two lines to the right of the two windows. That's the same thing. That's, well, no. Well, okay. We're gonna need that, but we're gonna need that closer down the line where the, right in there. So that delineates between existing and new accurately for both elevations, right?
Okay.
Do you agree with that? Okay, all right. That takes care of that staff comment. Okay. Talked about parking detail. Okay, I don't have any more questions at this point in time. Anybody else? Yes. Susan, you good?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. We're gonna go ahead and, we're done asking questions. You have a few moments if you'd like to summarize any of the items that we discussed or rebut anything that we discussed, and then we're gonna go ahead and close the public hearing and discuss the case.
Okay, thank you. I don't have no question.
Okay, so, all right, we're gonna go ahead and close the public hearing since there is no rebuttal, and then we can have discussion on the case, starting with Mr. Chase.
Yeah, I have no comments at this time.
What's that?
I have no comments at this time.
I don't either.
I only can remark that the inaccuracies of the drawings have made it extremely difficult for the commission to actually understand the direction and the purpose of what you're doing. And I would caution you in the future that you really take heed to the comments that have been made up here, so that when you have an occasion to present another set of plans to this commission, that they represent more accurately what you are intending.
Okay, oh,
Maybe
thank you.
that can be a condition, to bring like a fresh set of plans that accurately describe everything.
Yeah.
Well, seriously, these plans can't be submitted with scribbles on them to the building department, so
Right.
they will have to be revised, and I think maybe we should ask for them to be reviewed by staff before they go to the building department, to be sure that all of our comments have been incorporated.
Okay.
So that condition stays at the staff level, it doesn't come back to us?
Well, we gotta
Correct.
discuss that.
I have a
but-
question for legal. If we need to reopen the hearing, we will reopen the hearing.
Okay.
Make a motion to reopen the hearing.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're
So
open.
typically, when we say, please review all these comments, you have these conditions, if we so choose to approve it today with conditions. It requires staff to review to make sure the comments are picked up before it goes forward, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. My only question.
Okay. Do a motion.
Motion to close it. Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Public hearing closed. So we're back to discussion on the case.
Was there another note you wanted to say, or that was it? Okay. I think this is great. I think this is great for the community. I think, it's another house that gets an opportunity to be saved and has a fresh new life. That I do understand that perhaps the set of plans were not complete or in order, accurate, but they can be rectified, and, I believe that they have every intent to make it right, so, yeah, thank you.
They are,
Thank you
yeah,
for
the changes
helping.
is not too much. I mean, it's
Sir,
just
the
a
public
couple of
hearing's
lines.
closed.
Yeah. That was it.
So, yeah, I mean, these drawings are in pretty rough shape. There's a lot of inaccuracies that we saw firsthand. I have the utmost faith in staff to work with this, to get everything that we discussed here today in order. The process has been much more difficult because of the inaccuracies of the drawings. I think, Vivian, you had excellent points there for like when we come through and when we work in the historic district, there's certain standards that need to be attained. I think this building has always been a little bit problematic in the neighborhood, so it's good to see things kind of turning the page and moving ahead in a more responsible way. But, certainly this hearing was pretty difficult, and it didn't need to be that way if the proper work was done in advance. That being said, I think there's a number of things that a number of conditions that could be placed on this application to work with staff to make sure that the historic preservation standards are met in an appropriate way for the district. And I think there's probably a long list of things to work with staff on, so, but I'm okay with moving ahead with something, just have to delegate a lot to staff on this one to make sure things are accurate. And we're ready for a motion if someone.
I'd like to make a motion for a certificate of appropriateness with final approval with conditions. Move to grant a certificate of appropriateness for the drawings and documents presented at this public hearing in BLC 24-000042 for the property located at 1506 North 15th Street in the Ybor City Historic District. Because based upon, with the following conditions, sorry. One, that all drawings be updated per comments received today by the applicant from the commission, including gable vent details, review and addition of at least one additional window on the north facade in the dining area, that the French doors for the rear new deck area be reviewed and approved by staff, that the vertical trim boards be put on the drawings as noted today during the commission hearing, that the parking solution agreement be sent into staff and legal for their review in addition to the record, that the lighting hardware and color palette be reviewed and approved by staff, and that the drawings overall just be tightened up. And that includes a demolition plan that clearly indicates what's existing and what needs to be removed. Because based upon the finding of fact, the proposed project is consistent with the Ybor City design guidelines of the City of Tampa for the following reasons: that it is consistent with the height and width, the alignment, similarity of details and forms, and building materials.
Second.
I'd like to add a couple things if possible.
Absolutely.
So to work with staff on the entire material palette, just to make sure that they get the roofing and the siding and all that taken care of, and also clarify that the chimney's staying. Friendly amendment.
Would like to amend the motion as stated by our chair.
Second.
Okay, everyone's good with that. Sir, there's been a number of conditions placed upon this application. You've heard these conditions. They'll be submitted into the record for you to adhere to. Are you okay with these proposed conditions?
Yes.
The applicant acknowledges affirmative, yes. All in favor of said motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Congratulations.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ron Vila, I'm a staff for Historic Preservation. Our next agenda item is BLC-24-00000170. This is for the address of 1820 East 7th Avenue. This is for a portion of a parking lot that's going to receive a certificate of appropriateness as it moves forward for a modular building with site improvements. This is in the YC1 zoning classification. Moving to the photo presentation, this is the Sanborn map. I always like to start with the 1929 as a basis. You see the density here that was much different than the current or the previous applicant that we saw. This is 7th Avenue. You see the vernacular and the fabric of the red structures, which indicate a brick construction, peppered in with some along 7th Avenue of wood structures as well. We're going to be looking at this property here. This is our vicinity map to show the concentration along 7th Avenue and the contributing structures there. This is on the north side of 7th Avenue, in between 18th Street and 19th Street. This is the current aerial. As I stated, this is Angel Olivo Senior, which is 18th, 19th to the east, along the 7th Avenue corridor. This is one parcel, so you have a building which is a taco place now, that anchors the corner of 19th and 7th. And then as you work your way to the west, you have a parking lot. This is a portion of the parking lot. I wanted to show the engagement of the wall at the 0 lot line with some ironwork above. This is not historic. This came about probably in the 70s. The building, as we worked our way to the west, Demi's Market, was constructed in 1946. Continuing to the west, you have an open courtyard with an accessory structure that sits back from the property line. And to complete that block, on the corner, you have Carmine's, a 2-story brick vernacular building, and you see the storefront as indicated there. Moving back to the subject site, you see the perimeter wall. This is looking back to the west towards Demi's Market. This is looking down 7th Avenue. This is obviously the sidewalk looking back to the east, and it terminates into the non-contributing structure at the corner of 19th and 7th. This is looking from the alley into the subject site with 7th Avenue in the background, and then the contributing structures that line 7th Avenue on the south side. Close-up photos of those single-story structures on the south side of 7th Avenue. And just showing some street shots, 7th Avenue to the west. Subject site is really over here. This is Carmine's Courtyard, Carmine's, Gasper's Grotto, the Italian Club as reference points. And turn around, look in the other direction. You have the parking lot, then the non-contributing structure, and a series of 1- and 2-story contributing structures on the south side of 7th Avenue. At this time, the agent will address the board. That's the one you need.
Good morning.
Good morning.
David Bailey here, agent for the application.
And Stephanie Harrison Bailey. So we are here again today after our continuance at the last hearing to talk about our Nimble Shops at 1820 East 7th Avenue. And then just want to give a little bit of background about David and I and our work in Ybor over the years. So we don't have a ton of money, but we have a ton of passion for Ybor. So we like to think of ourselves as micro developers. So we take things that are unloved, sad, vacant lots like this one, and we do tiny things with them. So you guys saw the photo of these 2 houses in the application before us. These were projects that we did over the years, and they won in 2016 the Hillsborough County Planning Commission's Planning and Design Award for redevelopment and housing. So that was almost a decade ago now. And then last year, almost exactly a year ago, we took this vacant lot on 4th Avenue and 18th Street, and with our tiny shop that we are gonna reuse in our application today, we turned it into a holiday market. So that holiday market won our 2nd Hillsborough County Planning Commission's Planning and Design Award of Excellence in the categories of commercial redevelopment, environmental, and community participation. We just received that award a couple weeks ago, right? So what we're asking today is for approval to turn a part of this sea of asphalt on 7th Avenue into this. So we all know that Ybor really needs more retail. I think we'll all kind of agree with that. So that's where I'll leave it. Let David take it over.
Yeah, and so we talked about this at the last hearing, but this is something that Stephanie and I are very passionate about, that as Mr. Vila pointed out, that on the Sanborn maps, there used to be this concentration of retail along 7th Avenue. And from things that happened before we were all around or in charge, basically those teeth were knocked out. So we're trying to come up with techniques to fill things up in an interim level. So obviously what we're trying to do is to reconnect the pedestrian flow. Stephanie and I live in Ybor City. We eat at these restaurants, we go to these bars, and whenever you encounter one of these pockets that's just hundreds of feet long of asphalt, it diminishes not only the pedestrian experience, but also Ybor City's vibrancy. Just to kind of go through the area context here, the subject property you can see clearly depicted, and around that we have 3 different zones which are vacant, empty lots that had small structures added to them subsequently. So you've got the corner of 18th and 7th next to gas bars. Actually, both sides of gas bars have small structures. And then, as Mr. Villa pointed out in his presentation, Carmine's, which is depicted as number 3, has a myriad of small structures there that have kind of unfolded over time. Again, this is won't spend a ton of time on this, but just wanted to give you a context of small structures on the same block. So that's Sandbar, which is approximately about a 12 by 12 structure. On the other side, so on the east side of gas bars, you've got, again, a variety of different structures, small structures. And then the Carmine's space is actually really interesting because, like I said, it's unfolded into small structures, different gates, a bunch of different iterations of itself. And so this is the site that we're talking about. It's currently a parking lot next to what used to be La Tropicana, now Barrio Tacos. There's about 105 linear feet of asphalt that fronts 7th Avenue. So as Stephanie said, what we're trying to do is have what we call an asphalt intervention. We're trying to get some sort of development to get a foothold there to make this a better place to walk and experience. So here is the site plan that we are bringing to you today. Part of the feedback from Mr. Villa's staff report was trying to respond to the site and have a more substantial structure there, so we believe that's what we've done. And I'm going to move more quickly through the presentation and happy to answer any questions that you have along the way.
Just to stop for a moment. So essentially what we've done is we've taken our previous application showing 1 shop and we've just doubled that. So now we're showing 2 shops on the site, knowing that our intention in the future is to build out the entire frontage of 7th Avenue, but we're just not there yet. So this is a step.
And towards the end of the presentation, because the commission in the last hearing did ask for the equivalent of kind of like a master plan or like an overall scheme that we have in mind, we do have that later in the presentation, but that's not part technically of our site plan application, so to speak. And I did want to also mention that we have moved the shops back further because there was a discussion of doing that, so we did so, giving a little more distance between the Demi's building and the rest of the site.
Yeah, that's true. So this is just a zoomed-in version of that site plan. I'm sorry,
So yeah, as Stephanie very aptly said, this is just zoomed in on the site plan to show you some of the dimensions and the context, and we've included the rendering here just to show that street level activation that we're excited to see. It's interesting on this site, on the east side of the Demi's building, there are some murals there from the 90s which are in pretty poor shape, but they're kind of cool too. So what we would like to do with coordination with Carmine Ironi is maybe see how we can maybe bring those back to life, restore them, possibly do something new. We would work with staff on what that might be. But again, they're faded and they're tired, but if you look closely, there's some pretty cool imagery there, and actually some of what we've used in the 3D rendering there are the actual images. Did I miss anything there? So I mentioned this on the last presentation, but it's really important to consider it's not just the building, it's the space in between the buildings. And what we want to create are these secondary opportunities for people to kind of filter through 7th Avenue in a more organic way, experiencing different things, having different environs, getting out of the sun, things like that. So this was just like a depiction of what those interstitial spaces can be.
Yeah, I think the space between the shop and Demi's is just as important as the shop itself. I think so. All right, so these are our exterior elevations. It's a pretty small structure, so they're pretty simple. They're almost exactly the same as they were in the last go-around, except for now there are two. One of the shops is already built, so the elevation hasn't changed. So that's that. I'll leave that there, and then happy to answer any questions later if you have them. As requested in the previous hearing, we did put together a street elevation of the entire north side of the 1800 block. So the top drawing is our proposed elevation, just showing the two shops and then the exterior activation that would happen around them. And then the second bottom elevation is what's existing today. So just kind of showing that this is a lower density block, kind of lower structures as well. And then this slide really just shows that we really designed this shop to live in Ybor. So we took into account the height of the knee walls, the tops of the glass, the height of the doors and canopies to make sure that even though the shops are small, they feel like they belong. And when you're walking down the street at a pedestrian scale, it feels appropriate. This is a slide depicting some of our site materiality and exterior fixtures, furnitures, and equipment. So really taking things up a level, we want to have like this feel like a very nice space that you could hang out in, and like David said, relax, get out of the sun of 7th Avenue, and just have some time with family and friends to be together. Building materials wise, we, on the front facade, it is mostly powder coated storefront and Mirtec trim, which is like a wood composite trim. So that's the basis of what we're looking at there. And then along the sides and a little bit on the front, there is painted metal SIPS panels, which we brought a piece of today. So we can pass this around for you guys if you'd like it. Oh, thanks, Ron. Thank you. So that is the sides and the back of the structure. More samples of what's happening on the exterior of the building, door hardware, lighting, address letters and numbers.
And so we wanted to include in our presentation some of the letters that we received from folks, because as Stephanie mentioned, we did do a pop-up last year, and as a result of that, we had a pretty fantastic outpouring of interest, not only from people within the neighborhood, but also people who are just really excited about this tenant opportunity, the opportunity to go into a market like Ybor City, which usually has a pretty high threshold in terms of you got to take 3,000 square feet if you're going to be on 7th. This is a whole new world, so we have some friends who showed up today, Jamal and Lauren, who have a matcha business that are really excited about this opportunity. We have letters here from actually one of the ladies who helped us with the pop-up, Christina Weaver, and she's focused on women makers and how you can curate a shop to make it. Again, we're talking about a 200 square foot shop, but to be able to have that much activity coming from 200 square feet is what our goal is. We also bumped into, and this is how beautiful Ybor City is, because I had my nimble hat at the same time I was across the street from the pop-up shop, Allison with Sweet Dog Tampa, who is currently on Platt Street across from Publix. She's really excited about getting a new location in Ybor City. So I wanted to impress upon you all that there is real exciting demand to populate these shops, and we feel that it will transform Ybor City. We also wanted to include in the packet 2 letters of clarification, because there were questions asked about the impact that our proposal would have on any parking agreement. So we have a letter from the property owner stating that there are no conflicts with any parking agreements because there are none outside of their regular use. And the second letter is an important clarification because I actually dropped a ball on this on the last presentation. This property owner, Daryl Shaw, came to us and asked us what we could do to insert an interim use into this property. He knew that it was kind of an anemic use along 7th Avenue, and he came to Nimble because we have expertise doing that.
And he knows that there is a higher and better use for this property eventually, so like the letter says, like this is not gonna impede his future development, like something more massive belongs there eventually. When the stars align.
So we just wanted to have those letters for the record to answer your questions from the last. This is, what we have today. We have a pretty massive sea of asphalt, and our goal, as we've said many times before coming to you, is to try to take a step in the right direction. And our project is small. We build small, we develop small, but that's how things get started. If we wait for the big thing to come, we might be waiting a long time. So, again, I alluded to this before, but this is kind of the master plan, so to speak. With the caveat that we do not control this property, we are just tenants on it, but this is a conversation that we've had with the owner, and this kind of reflects the desires and the massing that we think that, I don't want to speak for staff, but it seems to be in the same direction of what we're pointed on our current application. The only other thing I wanted to mention, and we know that staff does not support this request, but I do want to put this into the conversation because I think it's very important for Jamal and Lauren to understand. So we have one shop today, and we can place that shop within months if we were to be approved. To get the second shop is probably going to be another 12 months because, as Stephanie said, we don't have a ton of money. These things take time to do. So the unfortunate thing, if we get approved for 2, is that we will be waiting probably another year for folks like Jamal and Lauren to move into these spaces. So what we'd like to have into the conversation, it could be now or it could be with staff at a later date, is there something that we can do to still have a placeholder in place of the shop that's substantial, but maybe it's not the full shop? Happy to riff on that more if you'd like to hear about it, but I don't want to confuse you either, so. Sorry?
Okay. No, I'm good.
Okay. Or,
No, I'm good.
okay.
I'm good. I thought, okay. I'm good.
I think Stephanie just said I confused her, so I'm in bad shape.
I'm good. I think that concludes us, right? Yeah. That's
Yeah.
it. Okay.
That's it.
Okay, is that your presentation?
Yes.
That is our presentation.
Good morning, Commissioner Ron Vila, I'm staff with Historic Preservation. There are 4 letters in your packets. I think they provided additional letters, but we have the 4 that were submitted to our office in the timely fashion that we could get them to you this morning. Staff's finding that this application is consistent. We have some bullet items on page 3 of the staff report. I just want to go through that briefly. The concentration of buildings in between the 1700 Street and 1800 block and 1900 block of 7th Avenue. There's a series of 1- and 2-story buildings there. What they provided initially, and I believe most of y'all were here, was a little substandard in staff's opinion as far as the scale and the massing goes. Since they paired the building, it reflects more of a storefront that is consistent along that particular block on 7th Avenue. So just drilling down on the height of the width, the pairing of the buildings provide a more substantial dimension and reflection to a singular unit, storefront unit along 7th Avenue. The setback that was established originally, we worked on the setback so it didn't confuse the pedestrian or the environment that's there. It was kind of in between being 0 lot line and pushed back a little bit. This one has a more substantial setback that is consistent with the other, I'm going to say, accessory structures located within that 1800 block of 7th Avenue. There's a series of buildings that support the historic buildings on 7th Avenue that David alluded to with his 1, 2, and 3 numeration on that. And I think that this request picks up on that. And then the similarities in detail and form, that this request moving forward has architectural details and architectural elements. It has display windows, it has entry doors, it has a parapet, it has a transom, it has a lower bulkhead, and it has a visor over the front. So this isn't just a generic rectangle structure that has been cut and open. So this has some vocabulary that relates back to the fabric along 7th Avenue. And if you look through the presentation, there were some datum lines that were illustrated as well. This building also is on grade. It has to go through the process today, and then it has to go through the building department as well. I believe this building has all the check marks to move forward. On page 4 of your staff report, we have our generic list, and it's a section cutting through the building, calling out all the exterior materials. I think they did a wonderful job showing the illustration of what their intentions are. A couple of things that are outstanding, I believe, and maybe not thought of at this time, was signage. I don't know how they want to incorporate signage, but signage should relate back to the scale of the structure. At this time, they don't have a tenant. We understand that. Sometimes people bring a location of the signage, what they intend to put the signage in the future. So that's something that the board could discuss. They showed the mechanicals, I believe, on the plans. And then there's a little secondary structure as well. If he talked about it, I missed it. But there is another building within the subject site, so if he could elaborate on that as well. And I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vila. Anyone here from the public wishing to comment on the case? Seeing none, we can start with some questions of the applicant. We're gonna start with Mr. Chase.
Hi, yeah, I have two questions. For the proposed site plan, I saw a path on the sidewalk. I just wanted to know, sorry, could you get to the proposed site plan? Yeah, that path kind of looks, it's like.
That is the ADA path. They
God,
requested
okay,
that we
so
show
that's
that.
not like an
that's
extra
just showing
material on the
ADA.
sidewalk, that's just, okay.
Yeah.
And then my second question was the subject property looking north into the site. That photo in our packet, it looks like 2 palm trees would be removed.
Yes.
And this might be a question for staff. Is that like, has there ever been preservation methods of palm trees or trees like that, or do they have to be like completely removed for this project?
As this continues through the process, Natural Resources will talk about this. If there's any mitigation, he will have to do it. The palm trees are not historically correct. They're put up, for the tourists more than anything else, and you see how the palm trees line 7th Avenue up and down. That was more of a branding of 7th Avenue, but it will be discussed, and the mitigation will be in process.
Okay, thank you.
So that brings me to the landscaping, hardscaping on the list. Can we go back to your site plan, please? Right, the other one,
You want the bigger one?
the bigger one.
Yeah.
So, you have planters around the edges, the north and the east edges. Are there any other pieces of landscape intended for the initial phase, let's call it?
I think that the majority of, not hardscape, but landscaping, I guess, like plant material would be in planters, like
Right.
container planting. And we don't have that fully flushed out
Okay.
yet.
And then in terms of hardscaping, is there any, because you're taking over parking, are you paving, are you putting concrete in? What is the intent? Are you leaving it asphalt and removing the stripes? How are you dealing with the ground surface?
I think it's going to be, we do not want to add more asphalt. There's enough.
Agreed.
So we would like to soften it a little bit, and that'll be some comment. So because there's some grade changes happening currently in that parking lot. You've got the curb, and then you've got the asphalt parking surface. We would like to infill a lot of that with pea gravel in the seating area, and then paint the asphalt that we're going to be able to keep, in a fun way. That goes with the mural, that goes with the building.
So because of, you mentioned the grade changes, is there any issues with the ADA accessibility path that you're showing?
No, because we have to cut into the raised curb anyway, because we have to countersink the shop to grade.
Right.
So we're just gonna have to figure all of that out and make sure that everything is at grade.
If you do that, do you see that material being concrete or something that's more temporary that can still meet the ADA compliance?
We're exploring a couple different options. It will likely be concrete. The question would be if it's somewhat modular, that we could place it and then remove it at a later date. We're trying to weigh what that cost payoff
Okay.
is.
Understood.
Yeah.
So the fence, the perimeter, what is that? Behind the planters. It seems like it's some kind of fencing or railing.
It sure is. It is just
There.
at the top left there. It's just metal, black metal
Oh,
fencing.
okay. I see it in your rendering as well. So it's
Okay,
just a
gotcha.
basic aluminum or steel black.
Yeah, just something to keep, people from wafting in and out
How-
from the parking lot and
How
into the
tall is
space.
that intended? Oh, it says 4 feet, never
4
mind.
And then it'll be visually screened by the plants that are in the planters. So
Okay.
if you're sitting there having a beer, you're not looking at the parking lot.
Are you gonna have any bollards on the other side to
Yes.
protect it?
Bottom left
Oh, okay.
corner
Got it.
bollard.
And then,
Corner of the city Tampa logo.
the signage, I did see that you had on your palette slide, if you could go to that.
Even this slide, we kind of show just a little placeholder signage up above the clear
I'm
story
sorry,
windows.
I really have to stop. Whoever's phone is doing that, can someone please turn it off?
I don't even know if it's coming from this room. It might be coming from, it's
Okay, it's stopped.
very faint.
So I'm sorry, the signage on the modular, that's different than the white decal that you had indicated on the palette.
Correct. The white vinyl is address numbers, and then we would work with our tenants to develop a signage package that then obviously would go through the BLC, some combination of, channel letters or something on top of the clear story windows and or vinyl in the windows.
So do you intend that to be custom tailored to each tenant, or do you have an idea from the master planning perspective that if all 4 get built out, that they all have a similar language, just like your modulars have a similar language?
We'll have to, our tenants would go through our approval first as kind of their landlord, and then we would take a cohesive package.
So have you started looking at that as sort of a language that you could add into this master plan concept? Because I personally feel like staff might be a little bit more comfortable, and we might be a little bit more comfortable understanding what the overall intent is, just as you've shown the master plan, site plan, understanding a master plan for the facade language, right?
If I could toot your horn real quick, Stephanie's actually worked with an e-board developer on developing standards and a sign package along the lines of what you're talking about. And
47th Avenue.
For 7th Avenue. So she's done a great job in that regard, and the developer was very happy with what you put together. And then I think also you have some experience with some of the consistencies that are happening in gasworks and things like that. So we would definitely work with staff on the consistency of the signage, because we're usually the ones that are walking down 7th Avenue, just like, where did that sign come from?
So as you mentioned, a lot of developers will do that as part of their packages, right? That they will pull together an entire comprehensive master plan. It'll be lighting, signage, hardware, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the last little thing in your master plan idea.
Yeah.
To tie that down,
Okay,
right?
okay, heard.
And then I think I got everything else that was on my list of questions. Pass the baton, Mr. Robert.
I'm good.
I noticed on the broader scale master plan, there is a little unit back in a corner that will become the water closet. But in the interim, there is no facility there. Is that my
Correct.
understanding?
That's correct.
And how does that jive then with the staff condition comment that issuing a certificate of appropriateness is contingent on satisfying requirements for restroom facilities and employee service sinks?
We can respond to that, or, yeah. So basically, what we're proposing is that the retail structures that we're using per Florida Building Code do not require a dedicated bathroom.
Okay.
So for the time being, they are not required to. We suspect, once we build this site out to a larger scale, probably an assembly or some other use is gonna trigger the need for bathroom.
And just practically, if you have enough humans in there, you need bathrooms, for sure.
That's all.
This question for legal, the first letter doesn't have a name other than a signature. Can we establish who wrote that letter?
Oh, that was the letter in question of the last one.
I don't know if we can accept it or
Dana
not.
Crosby Collier from the City Attorney's Office. That question came up as well at the last hearing, that there were a couple of letters that we were
That didn't have
unclear as
like a
to
name, yeah.
who had signed them. So that the last hearing, and I'll let the applicant respond, I don't believe he knew the answer, did you? Not?
We don't,
We're not sure. We're not 100% sure.
yeah.
Okay.
Just didn't want to say incorrect.
Do you guys show electric or like HVAC or anything like that?
Yeah.
Or did that come out of the last year?
That was on one of these previous plans.
So, on the rear north elevation, top right corner, you can see the electrical equipment, and we also have a small mini split condenser, all attached to the unit,
Okay.
and all that would just be facing the parking lot.
Okay,
And shielded by landscaping and fencing.
okay. And where's the electricity, the main electric draw? Is it closer to Demis or closer to Barrio Taco? To provide electricity to the unit?
We don't know yet. As you all well know, TICO kind of comes to its own conclusions. We can kind of steer where we think we want a drop pole to occur, but basically they will drop a pole as hopefully indiscreetly, or as discreetly as possible, and then there'll be a whip that comes over to our weatherhead, just like it would be on any other structure.
Okay.
We do not anticipate that coming from 7th Avenue. We anticipate it coming
From the back?
right.
Hopefully from
Yeah,
Yeah.
which there's just a parking lot back there, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's gonna come from the Demis side. That was all the questions that I had.
So, you guys came to us a couple months ago. I see that there's some changes. Could you kind of iterate what those changes are? I think, from my memory, the single unit was much closer to Demi's building. It was 4 feet away, or even closer. Now you've got it, 12.2 on the side.
And at the last minute, we changed it, but didn't get into the.
And then I'd also like you to comment on the front setbacks, because I think we expressed some concern before that it was too close to the street before, and now you've brought it back to 10 feet. And if you could kind of go through your thought process on that.
Sure. So, as depicted in this drawing, today we are set back 10 feet from the property line from 7th Avenue and a little over 12 feet from the Demi's Market building. Where we started originally, and I'm saying originally because we kind of moved the goalpost on you a little bit, we started off about 2 feet away from Demi's Market building, and then during the presentation, I kind of moved it a little bit more. So
Yeah, our final exhibits on the last go-round showed it about 2 feet, and then for the presentation, we had moved it
Maybe
to
about
12
7.
feet.
it was not quite 12 feet.
Okay,
We were closer, but yeah.
somewhere in there. And then based on feedback and discussion that happened over the last few months with the commission and with staff, we set it back from, I think, originally 7 feet to 10 feet. Just kind of respecting the hierarchy of building size on that stretch of 7th Avenue.
Well, and the other thing, hopefully you can understand, we're having to navigate an active parking lot, a zone. So every little foot here and there that we move can suddenly impact a drive aisle or a parking space, which do not belong to us. So we walked the tightrope, so to speak, to get the best configuration that we could to keep the parking folks happy and functionality on the site.
Yeah, I think it does a lot of things for you here. I mean, it gives a little bit more relief from 7th Avenue, lets the barrier wall, the barrier low wall fence be its own element, it lets Demi's be its own element. I think you kind of celebrate that wall a little bit more instead of being bunched up against it. So I do like the placement. I think that's what we talked about at the last meeting. So I think it feels much better, not as jammed into that corner like you're celebrating it now before you kind of like wanted to minimize it. And I think that's kind of, maybe that's part of the differentiation for staff's change of consistency here with the standards, that you let it be its own element, and so let's celebrate that.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back to that point, but before we do that, can you talk about how you're going to modify that front fence and the gate, because it's a masonry low wall, plus it's got gates up on top. Is that 12.2 measurement with the opening? It looks pretty consistent there, maybe a little bit more. Is there an opening there in the fence? There's a post up there. What's the placement for that? Did you consider moving that opening between the two units, or?
There, if you look at the site plan, you can see that the masonry part of that wall has almost little buttresses that jut back into the parking lot side of things. So we're removing a piece of that from one buttress to the other so that we're keeping the structure intact for that masonry wall. So that's how we got that to, well, I guess the 12'2" measurement's not exactly correct.
Well, and most, to your point though about the buttress thing, we're responding to the coursing as well, because that's a CMU block wall, so we're trying to find the dimension that makes the most sense to cut into, that's not gonna be
Well, you are you're gonna cut that wall at a coursing. Okay, and the steel kind of relates to that, or that's easier to modify, so
I think it's
tie
gonna
off
be
the
easier
ends.
to modify.
Right. Yeah, to Stephanie's point about the buttressing, there's also struts that come back on the metal fencing that sit on top of those masonry buttresses that come back. So everything is kind of interconnected there. We don't want to cut it back and then have the top steel fence be wobbly.
And honestly, we're gonna have to see how that metal behaves once we try to alter it, because it's not in great shape. I think it's such an interesting found object, but because it's not historically significant, if it doesn't behave nicely, you might have to find a way to delicately remove that.
But your intent is to keep the existing wall in there, demo a section of it, including the metal, and try to find a nice turn point.
Yeah, that's correct.
We'll work with staff on coming up with a clean solution there. And I seem to recall that there's a slight step up from the sidewalk on 7th Avenue up into that wall, or if you're modifying that wall, are you able to flush that out a little more? I see your ADA is coming from the parking lot.
There is a 6-inch granite curb right there that steps up from the 7th Avenue sidewalk up, and then the wall sits on top of that curb. So the wall, it starts 6 inches above the sidewalk. And we are not planning to touch that because our ADA accessibility is coming from the parking lot side of things.
Okay,
We do suspect that at the Tropicana gate side of things, that we're gonna have to ramp up from that side.
Yeah, kind of in the middle of the site there. I think we may have to ramp that, depending on.
The elevation.
Okay, so you'll have ADA covered from the parking lot and 7th Avenue, and that's probably where you modify where the existing gate is.
Correct.
Okay. And I think we touched upon some of the materials of what that is. I've heard concrete and pea gravel on a modular sense. I think it'd be good to define that sooner. I think that's something that you can kind of work with staff, and I have faith in you to develop a nice solution for that. So I guess my going back to what we're seeing and what we're talking about improving today, we've seen a master plan for the whole front site, which includes 4 units, 2 restrooms, some other site work. We're not reviewing that today. And I think what's being proposed is what we see here, the 2 units, but then we also had some discussion of like, maybe we just do 1 right now and another one at some point in time. So I just want to kind of be clear on what's being proposed and what we're looking at today, because I see 2 units here. And I think, I understand where you're coming from with, one unit's ready now, you have that one you have to build. But I think there's certain timelines that are inherently built into this Barrio approval, and I don't recall the timeline offhand. Maybe Dana or Ron could comment on that. So there's some flexibility here, depending on that answer, let's see what we can agree on.
There's a 5-year timeline when you give an approval, so it can move forward in the time that they're talking about. As it goes forward and it goes to permitting, if it receives a CO for one of the units, that was discussed internally with zoning and with legal, and that was kind of frowned upon at that time. So the request that we talked about with them is we would support the 2 units coming forward, which was a modification of the original request. That timeline should be respected, and legal is here in case she wants to interject anything.
So for Barrio purposes, we're going with 2 units on the site, and then permitting, they can do 1 at a time as need be.
Mr. Vila, can you confirm so assuming that we get approved for the 2 units today, and then we go in and do the site work and install 1, can we get a CEO? Can that 1 unit be occupied without the Barrio's final sign-off, knowing that that 2nd unit is still to come?
The internal discussions that we have, that both the units have to come forward and be CO'd at the same time. So independently, the phasing that is being requested this morning will not be supported.
That's a specific Barrio thing, because building department, we do phase planning all the time. And we can get temporary COs for one portion of a project and have the other one done, and you usually have 3 years to finish a permit.
Well,
So is that a Barrio thing?
Well, the internal discussion we had with zoning supported that the project should come forward in totality, 2 units. And then we spoke with legal as well, and they supported that request. So if it's a Barrio thing or not, that's what we're moving forward with
That's
today.
zoning, but building department issues COs.
I understand.
So,
Dana Crosby Collier, if I might hopefully clarify, you all are looking at a design.
Right.
You're looking to approve a design for this site, and the design that has been submitted to you and recommended as consistent by your staff is 2 units. So when we were talking about moving forward after your approval, the discussion we had, and we had this with the applicant as well, is that the project must be specific to the plans that are approved by the BLC. We don't have a mechanism in your BLC code to stage or phase projects. That's through a different process in the city process, through zoning and whatnot, and PDs, and we do phase projects. But for your purposes, you are looking at a design and a plan, a site plan, and site improvements and everything as a whole package. So we don't have an ability to break that up. You either are going to approve the 1 building or you're going to approve the 2 buildings.
That may be true, but it doesn't necessarily mean that 1 unit can be constructed and then the 2nd unit constructed or put in place rather at a later date once it's built.
Well, let me interject here.
The fact that we're approving 2 units, it gives them the flexibility of placing 1 and then placing a 2nd one.
But we gotta make sure that they can get their CO to occupy the first one while they're ready for the
Exactly,
second one.
exactly.
So
Well,
that's not really our purview, but
Yeah, it's the enforcement as well. They put the 1 unit in, they move forward. How do we enforce the 2nd one when the first one's already in place? When they come together, that is the spirit and the motion that I believe is going to be crafted this morning, that's what we're looking at. So we're looking at the project in totality, that there's there's 2 units. We supported this, we said it was consistent with the overall massing and the scale that was brought this morning. If that isn't carried through to the end, then it's very difficult for us to enforce that.
Well, point of a question then, I guess maybe for legal then, is in crafting the language of the approval, can we add a specified time element? If they have 5 years to build something under normal circumstances with an approval from this board, then why can it not be stated that way?
Dana Crosby Collier again. They will have 5 years to complete. The CA will be good for a 5-year period.
Right.
However, the issue and what we've discussed with the applicant over the past several months is when they came forward with the one building, staff found that to be inconsistent because the scale and the massing and everything was not right for 7th Avenue. There were other issues as well that you all discussed. So they went back and revised their plan for 2. And now with 2, it meets the requirements. As Ron said, once they insert one project on that site, we'll have no way of forcing the second unit because it will have been approved.
Unless the approval.
We would have to do a code enforcement action, which would.
But can we not craft the wording of the approval to stipulate?
I think once they take
If there are
ownership of that
2.
one unit, it's very difficult to follow through
I mean,
with the approval that is going to be granted this morning, I believe. It's no knock on these people. We worked with them in the past, and I think they will follow through with it. But it's the consistency of the review process and going through all the way to the CO process.
And the CA is a property right. So you get good defenses as a property owner when you have secured a property right from a governmental entity. So the granting of a CA is granting a property right that is very difficult to be undone.
Yeah, but can you put a condition, let's say for 2 years, and then if it doesn't happen, then just
Then
remove
he
it?
But
takes
you're-
the one
Yeah.
down.
But we did discuss that,
It's-
but
it's-
your
it's-
CAs
it's
are
not that
not,
simple.
they're
My
not
brain
like
does-
that. That's
yeah.
not how a CA is. Someone has come
Got it.
before you with a product, and they're asking you to approve this based on your guidelines.
Right.
And if you say this is good, what you see today is good, that is what they need to build. There
Right.
can't be, so we did discuss, they did propose that as well, if there could be some time frame that would be associated with the CA, but your code doesn't really allow for you to impose
A condition.
those types of
Got it.
timeframes. A lot of it is what is in the code and how this code is written, that we look through it a lot when we talk to them about different options for this. I consulted with senior members of the city attorney's office in real estate and land use, and there's just nothing really here that is allowing this to be phased. We actually have discussed this with them through the past few months.
Nothing allows an opportunity to recourse if it doesn't materialize.
You're either going to approve 1 unit or you're going to approve 2 units, and that's how it's.
Today, it's
done.
only 2 units.
But today they've presented 2 units.
Today is
What
only
staff
2
is
units. We
recommending-
can't say you put only 1 in.
Yeah.
They're coming to us
They
for
came-
2, and that's what we have to.
And they came to
we
you
have to
with one
consider.
several
Right.
months ago, and that was, no, you
And,
need to do
and
more
the
work.
reason for the 2 is because he didn't meet the massing,
And scale, yeah.
specs.
Right.
So my question started off like, this proposal is for 2 units. We're
Sure.
there. When they get to a building permit, one's gonna go before the other. Are they
Right.
gonna be able to or is Ron gonna be able to sign off on the CA as being partial for 1 unit and the second one's coming? Because I believe the applicant's gonna put 2 units there. I just wanna make sure that they can, if staff's gonna be able to sign off on the first one, and we know that they have X amount of years to get the second one in place to come in full compliance with the CA.
With the continued discussion this morning, and I think the way it's gonna go, we're gonna look at the site plan, we're gonna look at the elevations, we're gonna look at what's presented here. There's gonna be 2 units. When it comes into my office, prior to going to permitting, we have to sign off. So any conditions, there was some discussion earlier what we're looking at. So you looked at the plans today. Modifications are gonna be needed to the plans that were submitted today, these interim drawings. Then they provide them to us as they prepare them for their CDs, for their construction drawings. we'll sign off on what's presented and hopefully approved today as it moves forward. If there's any deviation to that, then permitting will call us back. But this is what we're gonna support.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Bailey, did you want to, I think you wanted to say something in there?
If I may, I think Commissioner Klaus Smith might have had the key to the puzzle, if I'm not mistaken. I understand the purview of what we're talking about today. To me, the teeth that you would, not you personally as a body would have, but the city would have is with the TCO. I've done TCOs before, it sounds like you have as well. If you do not perform to what the exit is of that TCO, it is revoked. You do not get a certificate of occupancy. So to me, that seems like a key to the puzzle in terms of how we can move forward and, you know, not get into the zoning word of phasing, but in terms of a TCO.
Okay.
How long will the city let you operate on a TCO?
I think that's something we don't even need to worry about. That's something they have to suss out.
But,
Yeah, it's-
but I think we've kind of clarified that this, what's being proposed to us today are the 2 units that we see here with the placement, the setbacks. You know, we talked about like a future water closet or something that's not being considered, the future phasing. We did ask for that at the last hearing to say, hey, what could this look like? And I think it sets up and help the applicant get to where they need to be to help us understand what the future of that asphalt lot could be, and that's what we asked them to do. You know, before the staff found the application inconsistent with 1 unit, and now it's consistent with 2 because of the adjustments that they made. So I'm comfortable with where we are now. I think that's some additional information that we asked for that's not, you know, for future reference, but not part of this application in front of us today.
And to answer your question, during the COVID era, 12 months, and you can reapply and you can extend it for another 12 months.
I have an additional question for the applicant. The staff report cover says 209 square feet. Is that total for both units, or is that one per unit?
That is per unit.
Per unit, so it's actually 418. And then I know you said that there's an exception that doesn't require you to put a toilet on premises at this point. Did you actually do your calculations yet for this project, including your exterior assembly areas?
Yeah, well, it's both a classification for the use of, I think it's called quick convenience. Basically, you're just taking something to go. That's the, and I'm gonna blank on the, if it's FBC somewhere in 400 or.
It's under mercantile exception?
Yeah,
Okay. And that includes any outdoor seating areas associated with their use?
it's the use itself as quick convenience, so.
Okay. I think, well, we can talk about it in discussion. That's my only question. I'm done.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay. The Baileys, you have a few minutes if you want to summarize any of your comment, rebut any of the questions.
I don't have any rebuttals. We thank you for your patience in working with us and understanding what our mission and our goals are, and thank you for staff for working with us as well. I think you know this already. We're just super, super excited to get more small dynamic retail on 7th Avenue.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go ahead and close the public hearing, and we can have discussion on the case amongst ourselves. Mr. Torres.
There's a really cool coffee shop across the street where you can use the restroom if you have to. We need this. I've been a proprietor for businesses for the last 11 years in Ybor City since August 29 in 2013, and we desperately need this. And if we can install 100 more, Ybor City will be better for it. So thank you for dedicating your work, and this is tremendous passion behind this. I think you know, this is an example of how innovation can thrive within the confines of historic districts, and to attract a new type of customer that perhaps doesn't understand or have never seen something new. It's happened in 7th Avenue for a very long time. And thank you for the board for taking the opportunity to take a really a really good stab at this and to be thoughtful and intentional and look into the future, right? I mean, the idea for redevelopment for this particular parcel, who knows what it could be 10 or 15 years from now, but we don't have to wait until that to happen. We can do something today about it, and that's great. Thank you.
Well, I think this adds an interesting and very dynamic contemporary take on the historic elements that are in Ybor City, and I applaud you for that, because the design is very sweet, and it fits
Yeah.
in there very well.
And I forgot, thank you for not making it a shipping container.
We're doing it so formal today. I gave a lot of my comments last time about what I liked about the project. What I do think with the revisions to date, the fact that you've paired them sets up a microcosm within that context, that immediate context of that portion of Seventh. And I love that. I love that fact that Jamal, should he take the first one, will have a neighbor soon after, and they can have synergy, and maybe there's a pop-up thing that goes on, and that really helps that next phase come on board that much quicker. I too love Ybor. I've been coming to Ybor since before I lived here, when I was in college. So I've seen it change, come and go from the Disneyfication to what it is now. It always excites me, the little mom and pops. Our country was really built on small businesses, and I'm glad to see that Ybor is still that space where small businesses can come and flourish and set up other generations of shop owners. So I think it's a tremendous change, and I hope you get that second tenant quicker than a year. And I encourage the inclusion of the signage in your master plan thinking, and that if a WC is found to be needed, that it comes back to this board for review, not staff. So.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool project, and like our chair said, the placement is important. I think it fits in well with its surroundings, and it's going to add a new flair and vibrancy to 7th Avenue. So.
Yeah, I'd like to commend the applicant for listening and, to what our discussion was at the last hearing and making those adjustments. I think it's an exciting concept. I've been to their pop-ups over by Pete's, and it was a great turnout. The people are excited. I think this is exactly the type of activity and enlivenment of that area that this parking lot on 7th Avenue needs to be modified too. The secret here, and they know this well, is that the people make the energy, and really to respect the historic character, make the adjustments that they did. I think this is a great fit. It's unprecedented. I mean, there's going to be some hurdles. I think we've heard, started to flush out some of those issues today. I'm sure there's going to be more working with the city to get this permitted, but I think they made the right adjustments. It meets the massing and the scale of adjacent buildings and energizes that lot. So I'm a big fan, and I think we're ready for a motion.
You want to do that? Okay.
I think the motion needs to make sure that we're very clear about the 2 units and the placement, and working with staff for all the materials.
So this is a motion to approve. This is a motion for preliminary approval, right?
Final approval with conditions.
Final approval with conditions for, let's see,
There you go.
case number BLC-24-00000170. For the property located at 1820 East 7th Avenue, with the following conditions, because based upon the findings and the fact the proposed project is consistent with the Ybor City design guidelines of the city of Tampa for the following reasons, is to have the 2 buildings, right? That's the condition, within do we put a shot clock to that, to like, how many, no?
No,
Yeah.
no timeline.
Just for the two buildings,
As presented on the site.
as presented here. Anything else?
And the signage.
Work with staff on overall materials for the signage, for the landscape plan, and modification of that front wall.
Wall, okay. Any second?
Second,
I also had suggested that if there is indeed a toilet facility
A need
that
for a
needs
water
to
closet.
be required by code, that it come back
To the
to the
board.
board, not to staff.
Okay.
I second.
For the applicant, there's been a number of conditions placed upon this application. We stated that the 2 units work with staff on the landscaping plan, the signage, come back with a future building for a toilet facility. Is the applicant agreeable to these conditions placed on the application?
Yes.
Okay, the applicant has acknowledged an agreement. All in favor of said motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Be ready tomorrow? Can I lunch there? I want to lunch there this weekend. Okay. Can we have a motion to receive and file submitted documents and exhibits at this public hearing?
Seconded.
Second. All in favor of said motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And seeing no more business in front of us, the chair and the commission would like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next month. So thank you very much, and we are adjourned.
Thank you.